K9 unit, SWAT team, crime scene, just pretty much all the functions that you would see in any, large scale agency in the nation, just on a smaller scale here. So you get within this community, between our agency, your Urbana Police Department, and the U of I Police Department, you have all the resources that you would typically see in any city, just scaled down to our community size. Likewise, we work in concert with our other departments within the city, whether that be E&E. Me and Janelle here, we work closely, or we did work closely together in my last position. She's now working with another lieutenant. But we have a very strong relationship between us and other areas of the city government. Our elected officials have been very supportive with us with our technology initiatives, which Mr. Lamberson will discuss. And then there's just generally a collaborative effort to try and address violence specifically in the community, that we have actually a blueprint that is available online for everybody to see, that incorporates not just the law enforcement side of this. This is a collaborative effort between various social services and other resources within the community. So that is something that is to be proud of here within this community. We're not simply just, hitting crime with the same hammer that we've been trying to do for the last 60, 100 plus years. Okay, we're trying new things to impact the community and make our community safer. And we've seen a reduction in violence. We've seen a marked reduction in particularly gun violence here in the last couple of years, thanks in large part to these efforts. But we can answer questions here in a little bit, but I will turn this over to Mr. Lamberson.
So largely what we wanted to focus on is some of the investments that the Champaign Police Department is making lately in technology. With the support of our city council, we've really been able to step up our investments in technology, making things easier for our residents and making things more concrete for our investigators to be able to investigate and solve crimes. So some of the ways we've made things easier include Champaign Police now have online reporting for minor incidents. So these are things like retail theft, lost property. If you misplaced your laptop, it wasn't stolen from you, and it's under a certain value, you can file that online, get the necessary police report, and turn that in for insurance. Along with that, cases of fraud, forgery, minor traffic crashes, animals running at large, things like that. Those complaints can be filed online, so that you're not sitting around waiting for an officer who may be holding a street for a traffic crash or something like that at the same time. Additionally, we've made a pretty substantial investment in automated license plate readers. Champaign has 62 of those units, and that technology is integrated in some other city-owned cameras. And those have been really, really essential in solving some major crimes. For the first 18 months that we had that system, we actually tracked every time that they were used. Well, we always track every time they're used, but every time they were used successfully in a way that we make an arrest or close a crime, close a case. Without that technology, we would not have been able to do it. And we logged more than 100 positive outcomes, people getting stolen vehicles back, people getting, we were able to find 4 missing people. But also solving major crimes, like a couple of gun crimes were solved by that. We are getting ready very soon to invest in 18 units for what we're calling our public safety camera system. You'll start seeing those around the Champaign community coming up in a couple of months here. We're building them now, but basically they're cameras at 18 intersections. As you're driving around Champaign right now, you may see something that looks like a camera. That's not actually recording. Usually those are sensors on IDOT routes, state-controlled routes in Illinois, and they're actually just checking, is a vehicle there or is a vehicle not, for things like the turn lanes. At 18 major intersections, 14 of those are the most accident-prone intersections in Champaign. We will actually have cameras in place that view the entire intersection, have point-to-zoom technology, and they're going to have ALPR technology integrated in them as well. So Champaign, I did. It's an automated license plate reader. I said it earlier. But so all of these technologies are there. We call it a force multiplier. We're 126 sworn officers, but they can't be everywhere at once. And the reality is that we have 126 cops for Champaign. That's 24/7, 365 days a year. They're not all always on, right? So you can't have an officer on every corner, and we're able to use this technology, excuse me. Excuse me, we're able to use this technology to help people in need in our community. That's what we had to present.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So with that, how about to open the floor? Any questions? We have both mayors and.
I had one question.
Yep.
He lives in Urbana. Any Urbana resident? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious. Nice space. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Question I would like to ask about the city officials. In your experience, do you have any special concern or issue with related to Chinese American community? Because I think we have about 15 to 20,000 population Chinese, that's estimated including students. So, I think it is quite large population. We say 55. So just wondering, in your experience, do you have any special concern or issue with our community?
I don't think that, and I don't mean to discount your experience here, but I think that in a community with we have 140 different countries represented in Champaign and Urbana. So we are a community that has many people from all over the world. And so I think we try very hard to integrate all of that resource that we have into making our community a more interesting and wonderful place. So City of Champaign, and Janelle probably can tell you more about it than I can, but we are a welcoming city. We were certified as a welcoming city. And really it's about trying to make sure that we are doing things like this, right? That we are providing opportunities to hear from and communicate with each other, and to make sure that we are working to address the concerns that you have. I haven't seen anything unique or specific that you all maybe know of things that we need to know about. Certainly there are a lot more students that are Chinese, and so, yeah. Are we the largest now?
It was.
Pre-COVID, I'm
So
not
yeah,
sure about that.
pre-COVID, the University of Illinois had the largest population of Chinese students in the country. I don't know if that still remains to be the case, but anecdotally, it sure seems.
And that's been really fun. I mean, it is, for me as mayor, we've had, people from the Chinese consulate in Chicago who have come to Champaign and Urbana to meet with us because we have so many Chinese people in our community. I have been at the Chinese American Association events. And so again, it has just enriched the life that I have led here in our community.
I would add, so folks kind of know the numbers. Urbana is a much smaller state than Champaign. Some people assume that we're the same size and they call us twin cities. Urbana's official population is about 38,400 people. Champaign is over twice of that. That said, about half our population are University of Illinois students. And you're correct, Nina, that the Asian population, I believe percentage-wise, based on the last census, is slightly larger than the African American population. So we're about 18% Asian population. 20% of the households in Urbana have at least one of the languages spoken in homes. So it's very there's one concern I think And it's not a concern, it's much as an observation, and we don't see at our city council meeting. We know you are very involved with diversity, the children are in schools and that sort of thing. But in terms of engagement with your local government, that's one area that we try to build more bridges. Mentioned automatic license plate readers in terms of public safety. I strongly supported the use of the acquisition of automatic license plate readers, but a very small part of our community in Urbana. Our city technology, and to emphasize our ability, we need to do everything maybe app area that really I would love one other thing is we have a public art. I expanded and added public arts. We have a lot of programs and events.
Yeah, I think I can add one more comment. Given the population size of the Asian population here, it's not like we're not engaging, don't want to participate for the city programs. And could be one, people have language barrier, but it's more about information sharing. People don't look very actively. And I think in the future with both cities and other engagement, and we can be, as this association, we can be a channel and really as a vehicle to carry the message to communicate in local languages in other ethnic groups in Asia countries, etc. So we can invite the students population as they come here, they study, they want to be part of this society too, but they probably don't know yet. So with that, we can build this bridge and truly expand whatever the local communities and governance, cities, and how we can help strengthen the community together. That'll be a great opportunity. We can work closer with each other. Yeah. Yeah, we'll try our best.
Right now, aren't you guys in the middle of a study? I saw an email that you were reaching out, trying to get information, so please mind making that up.
You may, it may be another department, but not mine.
Yeah.
ours.
City of Urbana is in the second phase, it's not into the second phase of the comprehensive public safety review. We just got the first report from the consultant. We're looking at call center, how our police, fire department.
It is on. It is on.
I'm curious as to what barriers there might be about either approaching local officials or approaching police if you need assistance.
I'll share with you culturally from my perspective. Yeah, we're my family is from, and just, bringing in family members, there's a lot of reluctance, reticence to engage with government communities. I don't know how that is in the Chinese community. But there are cultural hurdles when it comes to that type of thing. I think that's where engagement with community groups such as this, is very critical. I know we have taken it upon ourselves. We've engaged with, nearly 300 hours, of community engagement, dozens upon dozens of engagement with community groups, and this type of thing, you guys organizing this is a great step towards that. So I applaud you for your efforts and hope that we can continue to build upon that. I would also encourage through your organization, to put out, to your membership, just links to our socials, because we do a lot of work, both the city, the police department. I'm sure our partners over at Urbana are the same way, and that is a great way to at least, just get a lot of that message across. So
In addition to that, the city of Champaign, we put everything online. And we do that with a purpose, because our website is fully translatable into about 50 languages with a few clicks. So, everything we put online, we do that with a purpose, because we could print a brochure and maybe we'll print it in, English, Spanish, French. It may come from a federal agency in just English. But by placing that information on our website, it can be quickly translated. We have Google Translate built into the whole site. So that is there as a resource. Whether reading in English or a different dialect is more comfortable for you, it's an option. I know the Google Translate is iffy at best at times. I'm sure it's laughable in some areas, but for the purposes of the city of Champaign, we really, we invested heavily in that translation service, and I believe Urbana's website does the exact same thing. Right at the top of the page, you click and you say what language you want the web page to be in, and everything just switches over. So.
Yeah, please.
My question is, do you have a program that police officers, learn about Asian population, Asian culture? Because we have to come together, right? What can you do for us? And what we in this group can do for you, right? Because of some stereotype, Asian, Asian don't know how to drive. I'm like, are you kidding? I can drive better than this one. And but then it doesn't remove the fear in me when I drive around and I see police car. Like, would that police know that I can drive better than this man? Being an Asian has a lot of burden on me. If I ever get stopped, I adopt what my black friends do. I put my hand on the steering wheel, because I don't know what's gonna come at me. So if you can share with us, at your department, do you have training about culture, culture? I would love to hear that.
So at the Champaign Police Department, we don't have a specific cultural program that breaks down, say, Asian or Chinese Americans versus others, but it is state law that requires every officer that goes through the Police Training Institute, and is it biannual or every 3 years? But so every other year, every officer is required to take cultural competency courses, because regardless of who they're interacting with, they have to be respectful of their culture. In terms of that stereotype, I will tell you that I don't know that our traffic stop data proves that stereotype, and you can, FOIA that if you really want to show off the numbers. But our officers approach every traffic stop the same. There's a degree of officer safety. The things that they do, the way that they move, physically the places that they stand, are designed to limit their exposure to traffic and to limit their exposure to any potential hazards inside the car. but they treat everyone with, dignity and respect. It's something that our officers really strive toward. In terms of, pulling you over, they're not gonna pull you over for being an Asian driver or a female driver or based upon the stereotype. If for no other reason, then I will tell you, try to pick out what a driver looks like while you're driving one way and they're driving the other. They're not looking for who's in the driver's seat. They may look at a license plate. They may look at whether you were signaling or whether you're using the lane appropriately, but they're not watching for you. They're watching for me.
Answer is like, you were trained to treat all of us.
Correct.
That is the training.
Mm.
The follow-up question?
Mhm.
Well, maybe you don't have data at the moment, but, what would be helpful to you? Cause like, I'm served on Urbana Park District Advisory Committee, which is, I'm putting a plug here. If any person wanna serve on that, is amazing. University of Illinois did a research about minority and how they can have usage. And data-driven, like say like Google barrier, because we talk, we're coming together, but we're not quite here yet. That's like still step in terms of like, okay, so how do you actually reach Asian community? I think that if we are intentional, we can really do a lot. Like we did Lunar New Year celebration for the first time ever. That in my experience, 27 years, I have a lot of community members told us that, oh my gosh, I'm like grew up in this culture. I never really proud of my culture like that. And now Asian is proud of their culture. And my friends who white, black, Latino, they learn a lot from it. So I'm just saying we have two mayors here. If we can be data driven and be intentional about this, how do you reach Asian, reach this group?
So, as Lieutenant was kindly reminding me, I mean, we have a whole equity and engagement department. And so it may be that, there are things that we can incorporate through that department, not only for training for police, but for citywide, right? Because police are not the only ones that are engaging with and serving our Asian population in the community. The other thing I wanted to mention, because you mentioned traffic stops, I was with the chief this morning. I don't remember the numbers, maybe one of you two will, but he was showing me data about traffic stops because our traffic stops really stopped during COVID. We didn't want our officers to catch COVID for, a speeding ticket. And so we stopped, then we kind of ramped them back up. But where we're at right now is that we're doing a lot more warning tickets and we're getting voluntary compliance. And so we have a lot fewer tickets, even though we have more stops than we had during COVID. We are really educating and working with our community and kind of reminding them about the rules of the road. And it's been really, the numbers have borne that out. It's been great.
Please don't speed in Champaign.
About the, Marlon here in a second. I do believe in with the new Mayor Welcome Center.
Yes.
Yes, I believe there's a presentation in the works to, present there, just kind of going over best practices when dealing with traffic stop, because I think that's a big issue.
I'll speak after.
Yeah.
Marvin.
I just pushed something. So I don't know if it's-
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
I was just reminded that another way that we need, and another area where we need effective and welcome, that would be, we have in Urbana a number of boards, commissions, volunteer boards, community members serve on them. So anywhere from plan commission
Yes.
Three programs. You know, and, a event
Mhm.
very important how the and
Community Police Academy. Yep, we do it in the fall.
have I Thank you. I think it does.
And my name is Chanel Gomez, and I'm the Community Relations Manager in Employee Engagement. And I've worked for both cities. I used to work for the city of Urbana. And both cities are very progressive, and they're one of the ways I'm most proud of being an employee of both of them is they're progressive in the way that they're always willing to admit we can do better, right? And I always felt that. And the welcoming work that we've been a part of for the last 2 years, I think is really evident. And what it is, there's a Champaign County welcoming plan. It's a 5-year plan about how we do a better job at connecting with our immigrant communities. And it's a plan that's in progress. We meet bi-monthly. There's committees working on City Government 101 class. There's a police safety group working on providing police training in several other languages and taking that to different groups. There's a group working on possibly doing like a immigrant business fair this summer and this fall. And so we're doing better, I think, and I think everyone's really excited to be here and hope that we can continue the conversation and this connection, so that we'll see someone on our boards and commissions. I'm always looking for people to be on the Human Relations Commission, if anyone's interested.
We have an open seat.
Yeah. That's Additionally, one more thing is that both the cities of Champaign and Urbana have an office of human rights, in which if you feel you've been discriminated against in any way, you can complain to our offices and we will address it. So.
We want to hear the student voice because they're primarily in the community, and some students they bring lots of money from overseas, and without understanding the American cultural and business practice, and some students got scammed and they lost, recent case is 100K, and historically it's like 300, 400K just gone. And so, even some students, and they probably don't understand and got some, domestic and some other incidents, whatever happened. I think we can pass the mic to students, and if we can do something as they're young adult and they're all growing, they may not know it's either as a growing perspective as well as a cultural perspective. So maybe Jimmy and our friends, and please.
And again, and to me, I'm also leading the Chinese student and Solar Association at UFY, and also we are honored to have leaders at our Spring Festival Gala. We face a big problem, which is that we have a lot of students reporting to us, okay, I get scammed through social media. We got like these weird people, strangers, they're sending us chats and tell us all kinds of stories they have, and eventually tell you to put money in your account. And a lot of students fall for that. So need to know as we, a student organization, and also as a Chinese community, what can we do to share the information to tell them what to do when they get scammed?
One of the things that I would caution you about is if it's too good to be true, then don't trust it. So if you know the person, you know their name, you know their phone number, you know where they live, you interact with them, then a transaction between the two is probably safe. But if someone reaches out to you out of the blue via email, a letter, a phone call, do not trust it. And if you're still unsure, call your local police department, run it through us so that we can verify and confirm that. And then you'll know. So before any transaction takes place from your bank account to someone else, number one, make sure that you know who the person is and don't trust any strangers, okay? Even if they threaten you with using police, then say, fine, send the police to my house. I would rather you do that and take the time, so in order to be safe, than sorry. Because that's a lot of money. It's money you worked hard, or it's money that's going towards your tuition, or money you need to send back home to family. Trust and verify and confirm it, okay?
You understand what's going on.
So normally if you get a text message or you don't know where to get your phone number, you just get a message. It says, oh, I'm your old friend, or I'm like someone you meet, or I'm someone genuinely need help. And they can ask you for some need, just at first it's $5, $10, and then you ask for more. So okay, that doesn't work, so I need more money. And some students they do go for that, and also those scammers, they know about you, like they know your information, so.
So
Yeah.
to my experience, I'm sorry.
No,
So,
please.
yeah, so, when I first moved in Champaign, so at that time, I don't know anything about America. Okay, and then I got a phone call, or even my husband, he got a phone call. Hey, we are the first department, whatever, we want a donation. I said, huh? So up like, we donate $20. I think it's after 2 or 3 times, I think that is a scam, possible. So, yeah, that is our experience, but then I said, the police ask for donations, that is something true, right? So, and then right now, there's a lot of phone calls from BTS, you might have an overseas package, you have to pay for taxes, blah, 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 blah. And as what you said about well, I have a lot, spam list phone call. Times it, I take a chance, pick up the phone. It turned out to be my friend. She's saying, I'm using Google Voice to call you. Okay. I just get lucky. I just felt like after the tax review, and then I pick up the call. And then, usually, like maybe some Chinese, embassy, they call you too. Well, yeah. And we keep playing some phone call, like, you know, some people post on Facebook too. Like play with them and okay, hang up, right? But yeah.
I cannot speak for the Chinese embassy, although I'm pretty sure nobody will legitimately call from the Chinese embassy to demand money. If, I will tell you, and there will be no US government entity, the police department. We don't solicit donations, at least anybody soliciting donations for the Champaign Police are not affiliated with the Champaign Police. I'll tell you right now, we don't do that.
And taking that one step further, because there was a scam that was going around for various departments. There was one scam that was going around as recently as last year that's, hi, I'm a sergeant with the Champaign Police Department. You have a warrant with your name on it, and so we need you to pay us $300 right now, and we'll get that taken care of. Otherwise, we're gonna come and arrest you. If you have a warrant and we know where you are and we can come and arrest you, we're going to come and arrest you. We're not going to make that call. And so there are people who prey on the goodwill of others, and it doesn't matter what culture you're in, there are people who prey on the goodwill of others, right? Actually, and this was last month, I don't know if anyone here watches Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. It's an exceptional program, really hilarious, but incredible information. He did a 40-minute segment on what they call hog slaughtering, which is essentially, it's a group of scammers that they fatten up the target and then they take it out of them, and to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it can start with an innocuous text message. Hi, Kelly. Oh, I'm sorry, my name's not Kelly. I text back. And then they're, well, you seem nice, and you get to talking, they get you to invest in their crypto scheme. It's terrifying because they take good-hearted people for everything they have. But we're not trying to create cynics, but the reality is that if a person who says they got a call from a Champaign police sergeant, if they called us and they asked about it, we would say we absolutely don't do that. So reaching out is essential. The other thing is, if you are, or you hear from a friend who's the victim of a scam, oh man, my account is empty as of this morning, report it right away. There are options that we have through federal partners that we may be able to claw back some of that money before it leaves the country. But usually if we hear about a report 48 or 72 hours later, there is no getting that back at that point. It has been bounced to 47 accounts in 17 different countries. It is gone. But if I can act quickly enough, there are options for that.
It is widespread. I mean, there's no singular focus. We're getting some in Europe, and it's so prevalent. It's almost comical at this point.
And we can't afford to send a police officer to
Correct.
India to investigate.
I did want to bring up one
Or
point.
to Indiana.
Yeah. I did want to bring up one point. Obviously, we're talking about internet scams. However, you know, there are also concerns about just being ripped off trying to make internet sales, person-to-person type sales. There are obviously concerns of being taken advantage of in that way, and you know, the meeting up with strangers to, you know, say you're wanting to buy a PlayStation online, or you're wanting to sell some of your belongings. I did want to point out and highlight that outside of our police department, we have 2 spaces with signs that are designated as internet sales kind of exchange points there. We have cameras out there. Obviously, if somebody's willing to try and rob you at the police department, that's a special kind of person right there. But it is a safety point for you should you decide to engage in some sort of internet sale. Don't feel like you have to invite them to your home. We have a space right at our police department there at First and University with places for you to accomplish that business.
And the University of
My
Illinois
friend
Police
came up with that.
Department.
I wish I could do
Yeah. For the students, U of I Police does the same thing 24 hours as. Mhm.
So it's not only the phone call or the text message, it's sometimes even the email. They email something, well, so me as a real estate agent, so I got some email saying like, hey, I want to buy a house, investment, blah, 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 something like that. I never respond by them. And also, I don't know, do you guys heard about WhatsApp, right? I like sending them. So it also comes with some message. Well, I would like to communicate with here on WhatsApp. Instead of like not calling you, just text message, I think that's a scam too. Well, and then if you do buy a house, right? So you got some mail in the box. Right now, the number, like how much you had to pay for that, for the deed, that's changed. Recently, someone just texted me a picture. I think it's more than $100 to tell them, hey, you need to pay this money to get that one. Of course, when you need to call someone, your agent, your attorney, to figure out that's right. So it's just like you had to call someone to make sure before you make the next move. Yeah.
So I used to work for a title insurance company. So when you're doing your real estate closing, all of the money comes through there. So I've done a lot of cybersecurity training because of the issues. There are a couple of things that we talk about with our customers. The first is when you're looking at an email, make sure that you read the email address backwards. Because if you see my name, you see Deb, you will think, oh, it's Deb Fine and it's safe. And you don't pay attention to the back half. And it might look like City of Champaign, but when you look at it backwards, you'll realize they've misspelled Champaign, or city is misspelled, or it says something funny in there. So look at it backwards, and that kind of trips your brain to think about it. And look for anything that just looks like it's unusual. But they do try to, they monitor our emails if they get in, and they start talking about things that are really part of your life, your kids' names, your parents' names, things like that. And so you do think it's real, and you have to really, you're better off deleting an email that is real and having your colleague call you and say, why didn't you respond, than responding to one that was bad. The other thing is, be careful of just Gmail, because it's just not safe. So people who have their own servers, that's a little bit different, but Gmail can really be a problem.
So what is the more safe for the email? I heard that, like, people talking about Gmail is not too safe. So when we ask them, hey, can you send me your driver license copy?
They should not be doing that.
Right, they send me a text message instead of using, I forgot, but they just comment that as that's not.
They
Yeah,
should not do that.
Our IT at the cities are attacked every day when it comes to cyber attacks. I mean, the city of Atlanta was locked down for weeks until did they pay the ransomware to get it back? Millions of dollars, because they didn't have any backups. Our IT team works every day to keep us safe. And they find the single most unsecure vulnerability in the entire city organization is between the chair and the keyboard. It's us. It's human beings wanting to be nice, wanting to be helpful. The number of emails that I've gotten, I worked in the mayor's office prior to working at the city, at the police department. And the number of emails I've gotten from allegedly Mayor Finan asking me to buy gift cards and send her some codes.
Or who did it. They
Like-
got an email from, so my last name is Finan, so deb.finan@gmail. Well, that's not my Gmail address, but it sure looks like it's me, right? They've spoofed my name. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
I
no.
need you to buy me Apple gift cards or something. And we had council member who did it. So, you know, be really careful. Is
They
it
didn't send the
really
numbers, thankfully.
address?
But-
So bringing it back around, I think a good way to help the community would be through your organization, through your outreach, coming up with, we can provide you tips, which then can go out to the community, probably translated.
And I know that the university is working on some training for particularly new international students during their orientation. As it relates to that, the university is really putting a focus on that because they had like $1 million stolen in 1 year. That was also like 6 people. So, it is something that is being looked at. One other thing, it really does come back to that reporting piece though. So we will put out scam notices when we're hearing about scams in the community. But I'll be honest with you, I've not heard of any major scams lately. So either they're being reported to a different agency and we're not being made aware, or they're going unreported. The number of things that get posted online, on Reddit, on, Facebook, private groups, and then don't get reported to the police, it's kind of staggering these days. So we're
That's
really,
another thing you could help with. I try to do this if you're on social media and someone is saying whatever it is, there was a hit and run, or I was a victim of a scam, or my comment is always, have you reported this to Champaign Police? Make sure that people are reporting.
But if something, if something happens or something is wrong, please reach out. We have a non-emergency number at 333-8911. Any emergency, of course, is 911. Our police department, our only police department is actually in our city hall, along with our main fire department, along with all the administrators. One-stop shopping in Savannah. We're so small, and the building is open 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Walk in, reach the police department, they can reach me, and reach the community development services. please encourage people. No, just, it, depending on what issues in front of city council, I mean, I got over 2,000 emails in a 20 or 48-hour period. A lot of them generated automatically, but sometimes we get slammed and buried in email, and the actual, other emails get lost in that funnel. But please feel comfortable. We can't help you if you don't know.
Right.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
this and code is from New York, you should, you're not in charge for the other department. Or like, you should call the FBI because it's international, for that be the case.
So the starting point of this would be to call our non-emergency or our emergency contact. For a scam, this would probably be a non-emergency. So that you would call our dispatch center, which is the number at 217-333-8911. The dispatcher or the call taker will ask some of the essential questions that we need on our end. So where do you live, or where did this occur? And from there, they will route you to the appropriate agency. Now, would this be something that may have to go to FBI or one of our federal partners? Very possibly, especially if it becomes readily evident that this is going to be an international sort of thing, but we are not. Let's just say you live in Savoy. The sheriff's department is going to turn you away. They will at least generate the initial report, which will then have to go on to our federal partner. Same thing would go with Champaign as well as Urbana. But by calling our dispatch center, they are that initial point of contact, and they kind of determine the where that's supposed to go, provided we can find that information. Now, obviously, some of the concerns specifically in this room are going to have to come with language barriers. If you were to say file a translated report online to us, and we determine, oh, hey, wait a minute, now this should have gone over to Urbana, that's not a big deal for us to go ahead and send these reports one way or the to the other side of Wright Street. I would just say that it would be more expeditious if that determination could take place on the front end and go to the right spot in the first place, so we're not having to, tie up loose ends on the back. Right.
Kenita, I feel like you've been wanting to talk for a minute here.
So as a university student, I believe most students are clever enough to not fall into the simple scam, to the charity, to Joe Biden, or I received that kind of email. But how do you guys suggest we handle the more advanced scam? Recently I've heard this the students that has been scammed, that the scam team knows all his information and his parents' information and passport's information and his address and also billing address and everything basically. And they call from the Chicago, I think, government city, and also from mainland Shenzhen the governments. And then they say the students sell their information to a scam crime to a crime team, and then he is being he's involved in the crime. And then this crime team said that he should keep secrets to the police officer, because he said that both China's police and American Chinese are chasing after him. And then the Chinese police don't want the American police to happen. So he asked him to keep this secret to the police. And then they asked him to pay a certain not the money to them to, as a release money, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, because like the crime team knows all his information, and if it were me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna panic, and then, so it's basically a very clever, trick, but, what do you suggest if like something like this happen, like?
It comes down to education and making sure, y'all are, members of student organizations within the university, right? Expanding your reach and making sure that there's an education piece, sharing those stories, one, that type of stuff has occurred, so that if the same circumstances are laid out to somebody who's now heard of this, it will maybe hopefully click with them, hey, this sounds just like that scam that happened before. And then again, some of these key pieces that we've been discussing, where American governments are not going to be asking for payment, particularly over the phone or by text. If we're asking for payment, like the city of Champaign, we may ask for payment because we've handed you a ticket, or we've impounded your car, and in order to get your car out, you have to come to the police department to pay and get that out. We will not be calling you, we will not be texting you, and that goes for law enforcement agencies across the country. And so really getting out in front of that before it occurs, and educating members of the community of the potential, if somebody's asking you for money that's a stranger, that should be a no-go. And if you're concerned, hey, they have all my information, awesome, you call us. Hey, this person's calling me, they have all of my information. Maybe this is an identity theft case, maybe this is some sort of fraudulent activity, and then you'll at least have that safeguard of, if somebody comes, if you need to get new documents from the US government or anything along those lines, we have the initial report where you've reported that your identity has been stolen, and that will kind of be the starting point for you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm wondering, since your organization is very effective, I heard a lot of good things about, yeah, like really, really effective, very powerful. If there will be a chance to have coalition that we can give, for example, we can give them like once a month, to help shape these commonly known problems, because I understand safety is the top of the list. Basically, on the internet, but there's more than that. I work in housing on campus for 25 years, so I have seen quite a bit, and that is part of it, like shipping the address and all that. Sometimes it's a lot about cultural differences, because something is okay, kind of not like okay, but acceptable for Chinese student or Thai student to do it at home, but here is a class. I have students, boyfriend, girlfriend, walk on the floor, and the boyfriend is just like grab her and just like yell at her and try to tell her thing, and then I approach. The student, the couple, and the female students like, it's okay. Like, it is not okay in America. So if you continue your behavior, I need to escort you out, and I can call police like right away if you didn't stop. So it's the educational portion of it. Kind of, we cannot cover thousands of people. We perhaps can cover like 10, top 10, domestic violence, what we consider that. When I first came here, 27 years ago, I saw the sign, stop. Stop back home means slow down.
There are people in Champaign that think that too.
Solution and at a university, because it's like broader, knowledge and expertise. People in housing have seen so much. I saw a lot.
Yeah.
But something to consider that once we work together.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for today's program, and I really appreciate all the valued guests and mayors from both cities here. Let's have our hands on applause for them. And we can take our time. I understand there must be a lot of questions because we still have a small percentage of such a huge population in town up there, and we would like to play a very important role, become the bridge and connection among the city, other agencies, as well as residents and other ethnic groups and students, etc. And this work just started, and it's ongoing. And also appreciate the arts program, and we really appreciate it. We actually applied for the grants, and we'll continue to try. And recently, as an organization, we have launched the International Art Contest, and really solicit the students under 24 years old artwork to be sent international. It is a Chinese national level art competition. And then we're looking at how we can really strengthen the community, bring different programs, and ranging from safety and how we can really work, contribute to the society, have education and career and more, etc. So whatever the city require us to do, become a better citizen and train the young students and learn the American culture and whatever. So please work with us. And likewise, I think this is a great way to learn. Listen, among a lot of city seats, volunteer opportunities, looks like we're not there. It's absent. So it's an opportunity for us. If we want our voice heard, we got to be more active, proactive. And some of the programs, if we can do more proactive in teach young students, and potentially we can avoid a lot loss, right? So anyway, no matter what, we really appreciate this opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us to get together, and the dialogue just starts. And again, thank you so much, and appreciate all those help and advice. All right. Thank you. And connect with us if you have any questions, everyone. Okay.
I have to go because I have another event. So
Yeah,
I'm
thank you so
sorry.
much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
The event-